What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Swanky Disc Golf Show. I am your host, Luke, and I am joined, as almost always, by my co-hosts, Reed and Josiah. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about today in the world of disc golf. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for listening. Whether you're listening on our audio platforms or you're watching on YouTube, just want to say thank you. The season of disc golf has officially ended for the year 2025. And today we're going to be breaking down the sort of superlatives that the Disc Golf Pro Tour hands out at the end of every season. We're going to be recapping the season, and then we're also going to be looking at the Player of the Year contenders, Rookie of the Year, Most Improved Player, Comeback Player, Community Champion, and the Disc Golf Pro Tour All-Stars, and we're going to cast our vote. You can actually go to the website DGPT.com and vote for yourself as well. But we, as the Swanky Disc Golf Show, are going to walk through it, talk about it, and we're going to cast our votes. I do want to do a little PSA and say that now that the season has ended, we're going to do what we typically do on the off season, and that it is move to every other week podcast instead of every single week podcasting. And so, yes, if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to the channel for those videos coming out every other week. And if you're listening, be sure to drop a follow, leave us a comment, stuff like that on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And without any further ado, let's jump into it. And I'm going to throw it over to Reed, who's going to break down our first category, which is Player of the Year. Should we start with Player of the Year? That's the first one, but that's also the big one. Maybe we should end with that.
Well, I think we should start with it.
It's also the most locked
the most
in.
Open and
Yeah.
shut. This one, it requires the least discussion. It's the most self-explanatory. Maybe we could end with Most Improved Player. That could be like the one we hold out on. I feel like there's a lot to discuss there. But Player of the Year, guys, yeah, wow, shocker. Thank you, Luke, for allowing me to break this down, considering that about a year ago today, you had the call. Well, it wasn't quite a year ago, I suppose. Early 2025, Luke predicted that Gannon Buhr would have a better year in 2025 than he did in 2024. And while I cannot say that that was true, it was basically true. It might as well have been true.
It's close. He won Worlds.
And so
technically, I feel like we've been advocates for saying if you win Worlds, you deserve more prestige than getting multiple Pro Tour wins. We've gone on the record saying that.
You do. You do. We're big fans of Worlds here, Worlds truthers. So there is something to be said for Luke. Shout out you, amazing call, I suppose. I have to give credit where credit is due. And Gannon with another dominant year, both on average placing and total number of wins, major wins, cash earned, completely dominated the field in every major category. So this one is pretty open and shut.
Yeah. I'm looking at, it's got a few contenders on here, but really it's case closed. He had 6 Pro Tour wins. His average placement was 4.4. He finished on average better than top 5. That's just insane in a tournament style setting where there's like almost 100 people at every single event. 6 wins, of course, including 1 major being Worlds. And then we're also going to look at the FPO side, Reed. Let's not forget about the FPO side, please. Which is...
Well, I wanted to give us all to have a chance to talk
we can
about
talk
Gannon
about
Buhr and how
Gannon Buhr.
great
Isaac Robinson is the other. Isaac and Calvin Heimberg are the other 2 contenders, but it's really not super close, unfortunately.
It's not close.
Isaac had a major win. Calvin Heimberg had his first major win this year, opening the floodgates, possibly. 2 wins. Average placement was 7th place. Isaac Robinson's average place was 10th place, which are outstanding numbers. But, I mean, this is we sometimes like to argue for different reasons, for somebody winning Worlds or Isaac Robinson winning 2 majors and not having as many wins. But there's nothing to argue. He had the most wins. He won a major.
Oh, yeah.
His average placement was 4 points. He's across the board.
He won
It's a clean sweep, I think.
It's a clean
Unless Josiah has something to add.
Actually, no, I completely agree.
Nice.
Actually.
All right, then.
Actually. It's funny because, like, outside of Ganon, there's a ton of parity here. Like, and that's really why it's not close, is because in prior years, I feel like there's always been a second place person to at least have a conversation about. But the parity is ridiculous. All these guys with 2 wins. Antila's way down the list. He has 3 wins, but his average placing's not quite as good as some of these other guys close to the top. He was, in the tournaments he wasn't winning. He had some struggles. So definitely just like tons of parity, except Ganon. Ganon is the standout, and when you have somebody like that winning 3 times the number of wins as the person below him, it's it's pretty obvious.
Yes, for sure. I think the only shocker here comes in the FPO field, which is like a very big surprise this year. I don't think last year we would have predicted Kristen Tatar's retirement from the sport of disc golf. Absolutely wild, kind of shocked the world. I can't imagine what she has going on in her personal life. But whatever it is has caused her to retire from disc golf, so we wish her the best. But that means the FPO field kind of just blew wide open. And there was a lot of different opportunities for players to shine, and there's more of a race here, in my opinion. Holland Hanley is the first sort of contender that the Pro Tour is arguing for, and that is because she had 5 Pro Tour wins, 11 podiums, and an average place finish of 5.3. Obviously, that's insane. But Missy Gannon, closely behind, also had 5 Pro Tour wins. And guess what? One of those wins was a major, and the other one was throw pink. So basically a major. So another major. So kind of a double major, a 2-time major, and 3 wins, much more significant wins, but her average place finish slightly lower, honestly, just 6.3. And then you also have, it's throwing in here, Owen Scoggin. She had 2 wins, also a major. Average place finish was 6.6. Silva Saarinen, 4 wins. One of them was a major. Average placement 3.9. The FPO race is definitely tighter. And there could be, it's kind of, I think at least 3 of those people I would go back and forth between. What do you guys think?
I mean, I right off rip just value the majors. We're
major on the majors and minors on the minors.
On this. we are major on the majors. And the rest of it's just not too different, right? I mean, Missy has that average placings very close. Her cash finishes are very close. She has a few less podiums. And one thing is she massively struggled at one event, and it was a major. I think it was the women's disc golf championship. Yeah. She had a really terrible placing. So it's like that does kind of like haunt. But I feel like that's going to be the case with anyone we look at. I don't know what Holland, if Holland has a similar crash out tournament. But Missy won Player of the Year last year.
Sure did.
She? I'm pretty sure she did. Yeah, so she would be back to back if we went that direction. It's interesting to me, and I guess this is just by the numbers, that Holland is listed first.
It
here.
Lists
absolutely no love for the majors at all.
This list
she had the most points.
Yeah, it's just based on Pro Tour standings, so points. That's why that's how it's listing her first.
All right.
But
she has the most wins, the best
I'm
finishes.
Thinking based on
so
the
she has the
resume
most
here.
points.
Yeah. Just based on the wins, it goes to Missy, I think, pretty easily.
I agree.
That's just
what do you think, Josiah?
I mean, if we're talking podium finishes, Kristen's got more podiums than Missy. So I mean, that should put her in contention.
Kristen's still the player of the year in her retirement.
She had the highest average rating on the year.
Insane.
You know, like I don't know about this, but yeah, no, I tend to agree. I think this might be the closest play of the year race I've ever seen since I've been following disc golf in MPO or FPO. But I think that the Pro Tour having throw pink in parentheses on this list means that why is it not included as a Pro Tour or a major in the first place?
Right.
Like why are you not calling it either of those? But then you're sticking
that
it into their like resume as how you're putting
politics,
player of the year. But yeah, so
scandalous.
I think putting that in there is enough to say, hey, we factored this as part of our decision. And so I think and it should be factored. And that's my point. But yeah, I think it is very close, but I think that there is a slight edge to Missy because I think her consistency is, I know Holland has a better average place. I think Missy had a couple really bad finishes or below average finishes, but Holland struggled for half the year, for more or less. She had a really strong first half and then a pretty poor second half, and then she came out to win the Pro Tour Championship. So I think that's why she's at the top for a lot of other things. Obviously, you have to do well to have that average place, but she struggled for a good portion, but you didn't think Missy struggled, so I would give it to Missy.
Yeah, I agree. I'd give it to Missy, and I think runner-up to Missy is actually Silva Saarinen, because the way Pro Tour points partially work is just if you play more, you'll get more points. And so I think, I don't have all of the tournaments played in front of me, but I assume Holland Hanley played more Pro Tour events than Silva Saarinen, who had 4 wins and 1 major, and her average place finish was way better. Not way better, but 3.9. Pretty insane, and she had a major. And I literally, suffice it to say, I think a major is in value at least 2 Pro Tour wins, maybe 2.5, in my opinion, because they matter more. There's more money on the line. There's more prestige on the line. I don't know how to equate it. Maybe you could think of if you follow tennis, I don't care if somebody won 3 random events on the ATP or whatever, and then this other guy wins Wimbledon. I care way more about the person who won Wimbledon, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know. Silva got a major, had great average placement. I assume she played less events, and maybe she played some smaller events, and that's why her placement is higher. But majors are huge, and yeah, winning throw pink, basically a major, and the double major is got to be a winner for me. I also don't really care about the bad finishes. Maybe I should, but we talked about this before too. Back when Isaac Robinson had 2 majors, but Calvin Heimberg had a couple of wins, and his average finish was 3rd place. And we argued that I don't care if your average finish is 3rd place. If Isaac Robinson wins Worlds and Champions Cup in the same year and comes in last place at 10 other events, I don't really care. He won 2 of the most important tournaments of the entire year, and maybe that's a personal opinion, and some people will disagree with that. Consistency maybe shows up a little bit. I feel like it could factor in as a tiebreaker almost. This person has 5 wins, this person has 5 wins, but this person's average place finish was better. That's great. Nobody cares who came in 3rd place at freaking whatever event last year. Nobody cares.
That's a good point.
Couldn't tell you who came in 3rd place at MVP Open last year.
Correct.
Can't tell you. Can't tell you who came in 3rd place at Worlds any year, ever, basically, except for maybe the James Conrad year. And even then, was it Kevin Jones? I don't know. I can't remember. Who else was on that card? It doesn't matter.
Kevin Jones is a crazy
winner. I know he was on the card, I believe. I would argue for Missy Gannon and honestly give a runner-up to Silva Saarinen. Maybe that's a hot take. Holland Hanley had a great year, not taking anything at all away from her. 5 wins is insane, but 5 wins and 2 of them being majors. I don't care if Missy Gannon came in last place in a handful of events. It doesn't matter. Because you also, that shows, we talked about this also, early on, Gannon, Burr, and even sometimes Paul McBeth, you get this vibe of if they're not going to win, they're going to throw their game away trying to win. So if he's stepping up, especially somebody like Paul McBeth, stepping up who has enough money to take care of himself and he's not playing tournament to tournament. If he's in 4th or 5th place back in the day, he's not going to be like, okay, I'm just going to coast and try and finish in 4th place. It's like, no, I have a chance to birdie, 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 eagle, and I could win the tournament. And he's going to full send those holes and maybe win the tournament, maybe end up coming in 30th place because he drops a bunch of placement points for playing so aggressively. That's how it happens to winners sometimes, you know? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's a hot take.
No, I think the take about Silva in particular is a great shout, because having her down this list a little bit and then seeing, okay, we've got the wins, right? Because 1 major equals 2 wins,
IMO.
so they're tied. And then average placing better, podiums the same. Everything's kind of adding up for Silva, and the actual number of tournaments played is not that crazy different, but Holland does have more. And you got to think, like, when you're thinking about sustained excellence over a season, you want the player to have played the whole season. That is true of Silva. It's not like we're talking about someone who played 11 tournaments. Like, she played the entire season. She's missing a few key tournaments here, and that's probably costing her some points. But yeah, to your point, she's placing better on average, and she's got the major win. So I don't think that she's comparable to Missy because of the 2 major wins, but she's very close.
Yeah. Oh no, I think Missy far and away, and then I would put Silva over Holland Hanley. Although maybe I would put Kristen over Silva. I don't know. That's Player of the Year. So our votes are going for Gannon and Gannon.
Gannon and Gannon.
We'll keep it simple.
One thing I want to shout out really quick is last year's runner-up in the MPO was Ricky Wysocki, and before that he had won, he won in 2021 and 2022, and he was 2024's runner-up, and this year coming in with 0 wins.
Interesting.
So a pretty shocking year for Ricky, not getting a win. Really played well. It wasn't like he had a bad year. He was definitely in the mix on many tournaments. But no wins is
I wonder if he's been on a win streak too for like how many seasons he's had a win in, or like at least 1 win in each season.
Yeah, this
I wonder when the last season he went without a win was.
It has to be since 2016.
It's since 2010 or 2011. It was 14 years. I think 2011 through 2024, and he has the record. But
that's crazy.
And Paul's ended last year at 13 because they both started the same year.
Right. I was gonna say we just saw Paul's end. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. They're still both in. They came in 4th and 5th place respectively in Pro Tour points.
Yeah.
So still showing up and performing well, but yeah, sad end of an era. Maybe not.
Kind of.
Maybe it's been the end of an era. I don't know. But the next category is going to be Rookie of the Year, and I'll fully just admit I'm out of touch with the rookies. I kind of recognize their names from seeing them here and there. Harry Chase I'm more familiar with. But I'm going to throw it over to Josiah to break down our Rookie of the Year contenders.
That's a lot of pressure.
Yes.
I'm surprised. If you
Let's see here,
if you look through the top candidates, I would love to know their criteria just in general for what contains a rookie or not, because Isaac and Ezra played like 1 or 2 pro tours a year for like 4 years before they started even playing, and they were never considered rookies. And there are some of these players that I know that have played before. But yeah, honestly, this one's just kind of interesting because you only might see these names pop up once or twice. Ryan Mon, you might be familiar with that name because his older brothers, Jake, shows up pretty often. I think that might be the second best brother duo on the Pro Tour. Actually. The most notable name, and honestly, as far as MPO goes, there's a list, and it's kind of hard to do it. And most people at the end, it's just whoever has the highest DGPT rank. But honestly, I would give it to Harry Chase, who actually had a chance to make the Pro Tour Championship based on his placement at MVP. Like last week of playoffs.
Yes, yeah.
That is where you might know that name from, is he had a chance in the playoff to make it into the Pro Tour Championship on a wild card. And that is where that name comes from. Other notable, because I'm a little biased, Lucas Carmichael is on this list as a rookie. He had some good times, but he also had some really rough finishes on the Pro Tour. But I do know that he traveled over to Europe, and he did not have a good time in Europe. Yes.
Dang.
Yeah. Some really rough finishes. So I think it was his first time, just kind of going full time and doing a whole lot of stuff. But played a couple tournaments actually in Colorado that I played this year, so that was super cool.
Oh, no kidding.
That the Colorado State Championships that I played, I think he lost in a playoff in that one, if I remember correctly.
Wow. Yeah.
And it was like a 3 or 4 hole playoff. They just went back and forth birdieing for like 4 holes, and then he made a mistake. FPO.
That's cool.
Wait, really quick before we leave the MPO, because I agree. I think Harry Chase is probably the pick here. But one guy I just want to shout out is Peter Lundy, who that's the only name on this list besides Chase that I recognized. And so I had to go look him up. He only has five tournaments on the Pro Tour this year, but he came in third in one of them.
Wow.
And it was a European tournament, the Ale Open. If you guys remember that one, he actually podiumed. But he barely played, and I don't think he left Europe. So a guy who maybe we see a little bit more of next season. That'd be cool if he can get over to the States and start playing some. But didn't play enough, I think, to even be considered for this award, frankly. But somebody to keep your eye on.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Forward.
Looking at the starts on this list, there's a lot of players who, played a lot of Pro Tour events and a lot who didn't play much at all. So, but yeah, that's a good shout there for real.
So who's our vote? Are we going
on to
with
the
Harry
MPO.
Chase for MPO?
That would be my that would be my vote, is Harry Chase. He was out there often, and I think he just had he had a shot at playing the Pro Tour Championship, and nobody else of a rookie did. So I think that's pretty impressive for a rookie.
Yeah. All right, and then FPO.
In my opinion, FPO is an open and shut case. It's pretty open and shut. Rebecca Don actually, I watched that name all year. Not too many top 10s, but as far as a name that you see sometimes and you saw on coverage occasionally, I remember same with that second name, Taylor Chosek, probably butchering that one.
Chocek, perhaps?
Something. Somebody will correct us, please. But that one, I remember seeing the name a couple times. I don't think I saw another name on this list at all this entire year. I'm assuming a lot of these names that I'm seeing on this list that have some top 10 finishes are European players, and that's why I didn't see it. Living in Colorado, watching FPO play in Europe is basically at 1 a.m. So I didn't really get a chance to watch or follow along on those rounds at all. But yeah, Rebecca Don had a pretty good rookie year. A few top 10s, decent average place for being a rookie. And I think there's a big gap between, the top 5-6 players in FPO and the rest of the field. So that's not a bad start for your first years to average 20th place in FPO. That's a pretty decent finishing in my opinion. But yeah, it's fairly open and shut.
Yeah, it's dominant from a cash perspective as well. I mean, she she wins over $10,000 in winnings this season with 3 top 10s and an average of 20.1. I mean, being top 24 alone in DGPT, like you're saying, is huge. The other name that stands out to me on this list is Ida, and I don't remember hearing very much about her, but looking her up now, seems like she mostly hung around in Europe and got a lot of her top 10s there, and then actually did make the trip over to the States for MVP and Throw Pink. So she didn't have the best showing out in the US, but not horrible, at 30th at MVP, but actually got 13th at Throw Pink. That's pretty great for, I mean, who knows how many times she's even been over here. I'm not sure. So that's pretty great for somebody who's just starting out on the Pro Tour. So definitely, I mean, 5 top 10s is legit, especially looking at the rest of this list. But I think you're right. The consistency of the performance and playing mostly the entire season is something that stands out for Rebecca.
I'm on board with Rebecca Don. She is. I think she's the only one I recognize, unfortunately, on this list. And it's just from hearing her name more and more often. So I like it. I like the Rebecca Don pick.
Rebecca Dawn.
The next superlative is most improved, and this feels a bit like a meme this year. I'm confused by it. So most improved.
This is absurd.
The contenders that they have listed here, I think, are silly a little bit. I know that what they're saying is most improved since last year. I feel like that is not really what the most improved category is for. I don't know. Maybe you could disagree with this. Maybe that's just normal. But I'm trying to think of, like, I believe the NBA puts out a most improved award or breakout player award here and there. And it's almost always somebody who this is their best season yet, right? Or like this is their breakout kind of season. When I think of most improved, I think of the career side of it a little bit. Am I wrong in thinking that? I don't know.
No, so
I'm asking that not rhetorically.
Yeah, I don't.
Before
think
I
you're
read
wrong.
these contenders,
Right. I mean, you could split this into different awards of like most improved, breakout player, there's comeback player. There's always different type of ways to say, hey, it's just kind of not having a definition for it is kind of weird. It's nice that they list.
I mean, they do have a definition, but it's like the same.
Yeah,
I was just
I'll go ahead
and
for those listening, the top contender for MPO most improved is Paul McBeth.
Well, that's just by number of wins. That's just by number of wins. There's other. They look at it by average finish, round rating, things like. I know
I'm going to break that down as well.
Yeah, but
I'll break that down as well. But the Pro Tour website is giving you top contenders, and we're voting for it. And they have a picture of the top contender as Paul McBeth.
Yeah.
And like I'm going to talk about who I actually think is the most improved. But Paul McBeth going from 0 wins last year to 2 wins this year technically is like, wow, that's a huge improvement. Average placement was 20th in 2024. Average placement was 11th technically in 2025. His rating went up 9 points. Technically, that's a huge improvement off of last year. But if we're saying that Paul McBeth is the most improved player, I don't think he is better than he was in 2015. Maybe that's a hot take, too, because he was playing against plumbers and stuff like that. But no, I don't know. That seems wild to me to just purely take last year and this year as the only thing we're looking at for most improved. And so just getting a definition of terms, should we vote off of who had the most dramatic difference between last season and this season, or should we define our own terms and say, like, who do we think was the most improved player this year in all prior years that they've played on the Pro Tour? That's my question.
I think because we don't have a breakout player of the year, like Josiah was saying, that this has to be closer to that, because we also have a comeback player of the year
Oh,
category.
yeah.
And a comeback player, and I know comeback player typically it revolves around some injury or obstacle they had to overcome, which I
Paul
get
McBeth
that.
had to overcome
But
age.
yes, you have having a kid and he's battling age and everything that comes with that, but he also tore his labrum. What was it? End of last year or middle of last year? He was struggling with an injury. So literally it defines comeback player this year.
Yes, yeah.
And so it's confusing to me, but also what makes this even more ridiculous is that last year, who won most improved player? Joseph
think so.
Anderson.
Joey
Guys, who
Buckets.
was the runner-up for most improved or runner-up for comeback player of the year last year? The runner-up for comeback player of the year last year was Paul McBeth. So I'm confused. I'm confused how he could again be in contention for these things if he would just won comeback player of the year. Like that doesn't make any sense. Were we saying he's like ascended yet again to another tier? To me, I'm not sure he's in play for either of these awards, and if it is one of them, it has to be comeback player of the year again. It can't be most improved. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I'll say I'm a Paul McBeth fan, and I want to vote
Me
for him
too.
whenever
Huge.
possible. But it does. I feel like it would be taking away so much from other people who are making serious improvements, and they're early on in their career, or maybe late in their career, and they're making big improvements because Paul McBeth is just a GOAT, and I don't think he needs the most improved award. Can you imagine Michael Jordan? Okay, hear me out. I like using other sports analogies. Coming back and playing for the Wizards, having a crap season because he's giving his money away for charity, and that's why he's doing it, and then plays one more season with the Wizards and makes a playoffs run, and then gets the most improved award. That would be laughable. It's absurd.
He wouldn't want it. He wouldn't accept it.
That he would not accept it. I imagine Paul would probably think this is kind of silly as well. He's a winner and a diehard like competitor at heart. I don't think he would accept this award if we tried to give it to him. So I'm going to count him out of contention. In a similar light, there are some other people on this list that I think it feels kind of similar. They have Ezra Aderhold here. He had was this his first win? Am I mistaken? It was his first win.
It was his
and
first win.
Ezra Robinson's first wins this year.
And Ezra Robinson's first win. Adam Hammis got 2 wins this year. So there is like Nicholas Antela. I have a hard time saying he was the most improved player because he was insane last year and did super well.
It's actually funny here real quick. So if you look at that little highlight of Paul McBeth that showed you all his advantages, if you scroll through all of them, you'll notice it has like average rating increase, average place increase, and if you look at Adam Hammes and Silva or Ezra, it shows their DGPT ranking increase. When you get to Niklas, it doesn't show the DGPT rank increase because his rank went down from last year, from last year to this year.
Yes,
Can we talk about the marketing on this page too? Where is Ezra Robinson's picture and profile here? Come on now.
Yeah.
What is happening? He should get one and not Niklas. What in the world?
I think so too. I mean, we're talking most improved, not who got more wins than they did last year, right? And at least, and it does break some of those things down. It talks about number of wins, best finish, or like most improved finishes, average round ratings, improved world standings, and stuff like that. One shout out that I really like that they make here on most improved average finish, and who, if I wasn't looking at any stats and had to give you who I think might have been most improved, aside from Ezra Robinson, I'm close to really wanting to vote Ezra Robinson for this. But Sullivan Tipton, the reason why I would possibly choose Sullivan Tipton, again, just like not even looking at the stats, he did increase his average finish by 38 spots, which is insane. He was just a contender in so many tournaments. He didn't break through and win, but I feel like I was hearing his name week in and week out. And I feel like he had a kind of really good finish to last year. And this year, he went from being he was on Jomez once this year. That's really cool. And he had like a kind of breakthrough Worlds performance. To this year, he's a force and a competitor. And he's just straight up one of the best players there is. Maybe not top 10 or anything like that, but most improved as far as going from somebody who is not on basically anyone's radar to being somebody whose name you hear pretty much every week. That's a massive improvement from my point of view, but we can get you guys' perspective on that as well.
Really quickly, I think Sullivan Tipton is getting absolutely pushed aside by this page, which is going to really hurt his fan vote. So whether or not he actually wins, I think it's an uphill battle for him, especially since he did not actually get a win. But you make a great point. And when you go and pull up the Disc Golf Pro Tour World Standings, where is he sitting? 12th.
Yeah, so I said
He's
not top 10. I didn't even look at that. He's almost top 10.
Huge.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he's basically top 12 is insane for a guy who was like basically just, fighting for cash lines last year. Like, that is huge for Sullivan. So huge shout out by you, Luke. To me, although I want to vote for Ezra because Ezra, and I think if I'm being genuine, I think he is the one that makes the most sense out of anyone on the wins list. I think the second one I would say is Sullivan Tipton, and maybe he fits the category better.
Yeah.
So here's what I'm going to say, and this kind of adds to the ridiculousness of, this Pro Tour website. But so they don't have Sullivan Tipton listed here. I'll be upfront. I think Sullivan Tipton is most improved player. That would be my vote. No question.
Awesome.
I think Ezra Robinson makes a good close second, but him and Ezra Aderhold have been known to be like pretty decent like over the last couple of years, and both of them they were next on the list of doesn't have a win type of deal, and now the top of that list, it was them two and Aaron Gossage, and now it's just Aaron Gossage at the top. But here's my whole point was in the ridiculousness of this. So when you go to Player of the Year contenders, Cole Radalin is listed on Player of the Year because he had a win, and he is 15th in the Pro Tour standings. And if you go and look at Sullivan Tipton is 3 spots higher in 12th. Not considered a player of the year and not considered a top contender for most improved player. So,
dude, I think the title of this podcast might have to be Sullivan Tipton is the most improved player of the year. We need to raise awareness. What is happening? Do we need to canvas for this? What is happening?
We need a campaign,
So that's
because
we might need to just that's like all the other players that are on this list for most improved, like they're all just looking at like, oh, they didn't win last year, but they're all pretty common names for being at the top, at least top 15, top 20. Sullivan Tipton, this is his first year, and he was in contention so often. You saw his name all the time, and I loved that for him. So like that's my vote.
Yeah, that's going to be my vote, too. We're all going to go and cast our votes and encourage it. We'll campaign for you two as well. Go vote Sully for most improved player. And, yeah, they put the picture. It almost feels like they typed into an AI, here, put together a profile for the most improved players. And the AI was like, Paul McBeth had 0 wins last year and had 2 wins this year. And like his rating went up 9 points. And it's like, okay, that's awesome. Paul McBeth won literally every event in 2015. Yep. So I don't know if I would call this season. And I know. Some people might just say like, no, it's only who most improved from last year to this year. And even that being said, you can take where Sully was last year to where he is this year. That's a crazy improvement. Yeah, I'd give it to Sully. That's just me. That's our vote. And
Josiah, really quickly, when I went back and looked at the candidates for Player of the Year, and it literally lists
Yep.
the top 11 people.
Yep.
And then Cole Redalin. It skips
Yep.
to Cole Redalin. That's right before listing
Yep.
Sullivan. That's crazy.
That's why I was like,
Dude,
that's
what in the
ridiculous.
world?
Like you.
This might be a plot against him, actually, actively.
Nice.
We need to investigate.
I know, this is- 'cause
investigate
that
the
is-
DGPT.
Sussy Bussy. We'll get Robbie C on our side.
Sure.
Known
Exactly. Robbie's furious.
Sullivan Tipton
yeah.
sympathizer.
So if
Sympathizer.
if I
Part of the
could
Sully Rebellion.
segue, I think the FBO candidate,
Yeah.
also fellow Alabama native and Robbie C fanatic, is Cadence Burge. I think would be most improved. Which
Yeah, and that one they're
That
not.
one
they're
which
makes
is
sense.
funny
Not
because I think
Cadence.
yeah,
They're
I
trying
think
to give it to
Robbie
her for sure.
caddied for her on her win this year at Des Moines. So yeah.
Oh, no
yeah.
kidding. I didn't know that.
So like another like I know Robbie's a big fan of Cadence just as much as he is Sully. So I think that one I think you can make arguments, but I think that one is a little bit more open and shut than the MPO.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah, I'm arguing
I mean,
more
ninth
from
in
the
Pro
heart
Tour
here
standings is
for
pretty
both
good.
Sully and this, but for me, it's a sort of the impact they make on the sport, moving from being on the tour. You notice them a little bit, like, okay, they're starting to play well. Maybe they had a good finish or two. And then the following season, they're becoming a household disc golf name on the Pro Tour. That's where I'm like, that's a massively improved player. They had their first couple of their first season, maybe their first couple of seasons, and they got the nerves out, and they're finally able to grow as a player, become more clutch, get that first win, or really start like pushing lead cards and chase cards week in and week out. And so we saw that from Sully, and Cadence Burge did get a win. She jumped from 22nd average place in 2024 to a 12th in 2025. Jumped in ranking from 25th to 9th. That's a pretty huge improvement on the FPO side. Some of the other people was Silva Saarinen, who legitimately had a pretty insane year. And I feel like it was her best year ever. So there's maybe a case for that. But Adam Hammis, sorry, I'm just scrolling through the list. After Adam Hammis for FPO, they had Holland Hanley, which also seems a little wild. Possibly her best year.
That's ridiculous.
But
that's ridiculous.
yeah, Valerie Mandahano, who
Second in DGPT ranking to first. Are we serious?
yeah, that's not. I can't call that a jump. But yeah, I'm
Are
voting
we
for
serious?
Cadence Burge and Sullivan Tipton. Those are the votes from heard it here first. Swanky Disc Golf. And up next is the comeback
I
player
have
of the
so
year.
many strong feelings about this.
And I'll let Josiah and
Okay, I'm
Reed take the
excited.
lead on this one. But I'll walk you through, again, this is the Pro Tour website, and this says nominated players, big pictures. I think you can just type in your vote if you want to. But the ones that have been nominated, Paige Pierce, Paul McBeth, Valerie Mandahano, Cole Redalin, Katrina Allen, Paul Kranz, Madison Walker, and that's it. Reed and Josiah, what do you
Go
think?
ahead, Reed.
I mean, I think the whole deal here seems to be injury, right? We're talking about injuries. Paul, and Cole all had injuries
so it
last
says
year, right?
that this award was introduced 2 years ago, and it celebrates players who have made a remarkable return to competitive disc golf, whether overcoming an injury, bouncing back from a career slump, returning to full touring after a life event, or reclaiming their place at the top after time away from the game. This award recognizes resilience and determination. I mean,
So Madison Walker's on here for she is the popular
so
vote. Like, what did she have an injury? I don't.
So
remember
it
her
says
getting
all
injured.
eligible players are who received more than one nomination from fellow tour card holders. So these are nominated from other tour card holders. And for Madison, it says that she was nominated for outstanding resilience and an indomitable spirit. as she qualified for the Pro Tour Championship.
Indomitable
So she got the
spirit.
her
Yeah,
friends
for sure.
voted
Yep.
for her.
Well, I
Okay,
mean,
understood.
you've got Paige Pierce because of her injury, Valerie with her injury, Katrina because she had a baby, and then Madison because, she got friends voted in. So 33% of the winner of this is based on the fan vote. However, there is no write-in option. Yep.
Yeah, so you have to get nominated for
Yes.
this
There
one.
is no write-in.
Which
Yes.
makes sense, I think. And also like they
Yep.
needed to have write-ups like this for
Correct.
the previous award. Rather than just listing like Luke said, it was like it got exported
Yes.
straight out of ChatGPT, and it wasn't like
Yeah.
an actual explanation of who the reasoning for each person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a ton of thoughts here. Like, to me, just right off rip, they're all dealing with injury or some kind of. I mean, is this award going to be the best performance of a player who had some sort of injury last year? Because if that's the
Yeah,
case, Paige and
absolutely.
Paul will win, right? But if it's not that, then what is it? So yeah, it's a little
And
bit
here's something
confusing
like,
and gray.
arguably, Paul Kranz could be a most improved player candidate. Arguably.
Yeah.
Yes,
Not better
no,
than
that's what
Sully,
I'm
but
saying.
okay.
I'm just saying, like, over Paul McBeth, yes. That's my
Yeah,
point.
over
And
Paul
the fact
McBeth,
that
for sure.
both of them are listed as comeback player of the year, that's where I'm just like, huh? So that's
Yeah, a little strange. I think Paige Pierce is a legitimate option here for the FPO. I don't mind her being in there because she had a gruesome injury, if I remember correctly. And although it was a couple seasons ago, you could tell that the first season back from the injury, she was not at 100%. And this season, I mean, we had almost written off Paige Pierce as gone from the disc golf scene. Like, her career is basically, at least her career as like a top 5 FPO player might be over. And she popped off, and she had some of her old form back. And I think she's a legitimate case here.
So if I'm looking at the FPO, Madison Walker barely made the Pro Tour Championship. She actually only made it because Kristen decided not to come. Legitimately
Yeah.
because of that drop she got added. And Valerie won this award before.
Interesting.
Oh,
yes.
interesting. I didn't see that.
And she's now nominated again. And so, I mean, if I take
That's kinda
those two
wild.
out between Paige and Katrina, it's Paige. So, like, based on, knocking things out of these 4, that's who I would vote for. But that's where I'm like, why is the system for this voting completely different than the system for most improved player? That's my strong feelings on this. But yeah, I mean,
It's a little
given
weird. Yeah, I feel like Paige is an
Yeah.
easy one.
Oh, for sure.
FPO,
Yeah.
though,
I think
for
she
sure.
would have been a candidate anyway, but like I just hate how this system and the most improved are completely different.
Oh yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, it is a little bit weird. There's no write-ins for this. My cat is messing with my camera, but whatever, we'll continue. We're
Yeah,
almost
I
done.
would, and if I had to vote for MPO, I would vote Paul Kranz just because, like I understand that, Kranz, Radalin, and McBeth have all like struggled for various things, but out of the 3 of them, like I think comeback, I think is weird for Paul Kranz, but I'd still vote for him over the other 2, personally.
Yeah, Cole Radallin's win at
I don't
MVP
know.
Open was really special
yeah.
and really cool, coming off of an injury. So I kind of like that, but I think I would go for Paul Kranz as well. What do you think,
For
Lou?
comeback player,
Yeah.
this might be a hot take, but to me, McBeth wins this award. And I'll
Give it to him.
explain
I'm
why.
fine with that.
because and I think it's because yes, he was the runner up for it last year, and we saw him kind of return to form last year after battling an injury in 2023, and then battling, and I think it was in with his wrist or something in 2023, and then I can't remember exactly though. And then in 2024, it was a different issue, and so we've been used to seeing a not at full strength McBeth, and it's kind of been getting us to this point. Well, like, it's been a few years. Is McBeth even McBeth? And I think this year, it's a pretty substantial return to form.
Yeah.
He was in contention
2
a
wins
lot.
is no
He won
joke.
multiple times. Yeah, exactly. So that's where I kind of think this one I'm comfortable really just giving to McBeth, because this year, no sniff of injury concerns, no excuses from him, just constantly like out there battling and really a strong return to form. So to me, it makes sense. I would put Paul Kranz in second as well, if only because, and this might be a hot take too, but like, I don't remember Cole being all that injured last year. So I know he didn't win, but I don't remember the injury being substantial. So I'm not sure what exactly he was battling there, but maybe I'm just more exposed to McBeth. That is very possible. Anyway, I think this one, I would give it to McBeth.
It's a good take.
Yeah, no, let's give it to McBeth and Paul and Paige Pierce. I think there was that week where we were like,
is this
what
the 2019
year is
World
it?
Championships?
we're like, man, it's the Paul McBeth and Paige Pierce show for a couple parts of this season, which by definition does feel like a comeback. You know, last season we rarely talked about Paul McBeth or Paige Pierce at all, and this season they're back. That's the definition of a comeback to me. They both did have serious injuries. I know Paige Pierce had like a very serious injury. And I mean, I think that, let's give it to him. I would vote for Paul and Paige.
Let's do it.
Just like the old days. Number one in our hearts. Speaking of number one in our hearts, the next category is actually Community Champion. The Community Champion Award,
one feels crazy,
introduced in 2024, honors those who have made significant contributions to strengthen and support the disc golf community. Eligibility: players must be current tour card holders in order to be eligible. That's pretty much it.
Of course, Sullivan Tipton's going to get a picture on this one. That's just insane.
It's kind of just like,
Sullivan Tipton was nominated for his positive attitude and support of other players both on and off the course. So just being a nice guy.
I mean, I respect the heck out of that. But it's like, we forgot to include Sully in those other ones. Let's throw him in this one. Great dude. Seems like a great dude. Kristen Lott.
Dude, that guy really improved this year. Maybe he should be...
I know. So for the community players, we have Kristen Lott, Paul McBeth. They're just put Paul McBeth in everything, including Rookie of the Year. Why not?
Including Rookie of the Year.
And Paul McBeth does legitimate move the earth for disc golf, and his foundation does a lot of really cool work. Ella Hansen was nominated for her commitment to the mission of Uplay, which is really cool. Luke Humphreys was nominated for his work on the Go Throw Tour and his efforts to grow and engage the larger disc golf community. Missy Gannon also says for Uplay. Sully was nominated because he's a good guy. Holland Hanley was nominated for her volunteer
Sully,
work
nice guy, thumbs up.
at Uplay. Joey Tamale, that's kind of an awesome shout out, was nominated for consistent acts of service throughout the season. Uplay, Paul McBeth Foundation, filming content for other pros. I feel like, that's high key. That's my pick, I think. And then Owen Scoggins was nominated for being a good person as well. Literally.
Also a good person.
Nominated for taking it upon herself to engage with fans, make spectators feel welcome, and for generally being the most happy and excited person week in and week out. So we got Sully and Owen for just being the best people, which I like that shout out. I mean, it's like a high school superlative, like most kind, which is awesome. So this one's a little weird.
To me, Kristen and Paul are like the poster children for this one, but they also won it last year. So this doesn't feel like an award that you give to the same
That's a
person
good point.
over and over.
Yeah,
again.
no, this
In
one
my
feels more
opinion,
like a
I feel like
community
this
spotlight, right?
Yes, exactly. So I don't think Kristen or Paul are even they probably are like if ChatGPT was picking this like by the numbers, they would get this. But definitely I think we go a different direction here.
I feel like my pick here so this is also split in between MPO and FPO, which is kind of interesting. I feel like it could just be a community spotlight on one person, but
Yeah.
my pick for MPO is going to be Joey Tamale. I mean, just the fact that like if you know who he is, you know him because of the really cool acts of service that he does. He's worked with the Paul McBeth Foundation. He works with Uplay. He honestly just gets out there and seems to help people in the sport of disc golf. That's like his big thing. And he's also kind of cracked, super good player. So I feel like he's literally, we know him for the sake of what this award is trying to give to people. So I think Joey Tamale has my vote for MPO. You guys can disagree with that or agree with that. I don't know.
No, I like that pick. Here's a weird shout. The first time I ever heard the name Joey Tamale was, I think it was 2 years ago, back when Silver Series events were still a thing. But there was the year when like all the players announced their schedule, and Paul was like, "I'm going to Europe and playing all the silver events," and everybody was like, "Oh, Paul's just going to go over there and clean house and win every event." And the first event, he showed up and came in like 30th place or something like that. And Joey Tamale played and beat Paul. And I remember that was the first time I ever heard Joey Tamale's name. And that's when I, one, learned that he's actually pretty good at disc golf. And two, I learned that he does a whole lot more for the community of disc golf aside from just playing.
Yeah. Awesome. We'll give that W to him.
Yes.
And then, and again, like Paul McBeth has the Paul McBeth Foundation, and literally he runs a nonprofit dedicated to charitable work and growing the sport of disc golf. So kind of crazy, but I agree with Reed. I feel like this is you get the award once you've been showcased.
Yeah.
And then we should give the award to somebody else and showcase somebody else and what they're doing. And Kristen Lott got this last year, although last year her name was Kristen Tatar, so maybe we give it to her again this year. Yeah.
That's wild.
This one's a little bit tougher. I'm not overly familiar. I'm familiar with a lot of the FPO players work with Uplay. Uplay is a really cool program. I think if I had to pick one, it might be Ella Hansen, and that's probably just biased towards me having seen a lot of the stuff she's done on social media. I don't know if that should count for anything, but I've seen her people, posting with Ella Hansen, showing up to Uplay events, doing like women's disc golf clinics. She's also a cool person. Like, we have literally just like, oh, this is a nice person. Ella's got that already. She's a nice person from what we've seen and does all this extra stuff. As far as my little bit of expertise on this goes, I would say Ella Hansen. But what do you guys think?
I fair enough. I would have to agree. I know just what I'm reading on this page about the nominees on some of these people and their involvement, so I know less than you do. But based on the facts written on this page, and we don't even get to vote on this one. It's 100% voted by
you go.
The tour players, so we don't even get a say in this. But if I was getting a chance to vote, I would vote for Ella Hansen.
Yes. And I don't say that to say she just like jumps in front of the camera when something good is happening. I think a lot of things happen and you naturally just notice like, oh, Ella Hansen's there. You know, she's always like showing up to those things and making things happen. I didn't want that to sound like I was saying it a weird way.
Nah, I didn't think that.
Yes, yeah. %. And I think that's where we're going to close it out because the next is All Stars, where they just kind of the top card, first card for All Stars is just automatically the top 4 players in the Pro Tour, and there's, I think, a lot of discussion to be had about other All Stars, but we're gonna cut it here because that's gonna be a whole crazy discussion with a lot of. They don't have any recommendations here like they do for all of the other ones. We're just gonna have to start giving names and arguing about it, so we're not gonna do that. But thank you guys so much for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Music, drop us a follow. Or Apple Podcasts, give us a follow. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Stay swanky.
Stay swanky.